The place to be for previews, tips, news, and reviews. Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for another festival special preview. We had Chester last week, and then obviously we had our weekend preview. And today we join you for our York Dante Festival preview. We've got 6 races to cover across the 3 days there, starting on Wednesday through to Friday. Some really top quality action, some really good quality free rolls in action as well. So it'd be excellent to have a look at some of these. Now, before we start talking, just want to have a quick discussion over the weekend, Jack. Obviously, the highlights probably in terms of the group races were the French 2000 and 1000 guineas. What do we make of both races? Do we think the same of what happened at Newmarket and the fact that the 1000 was probably stronger than the 2000?
Yeah, it looked that way, of course. Was it Yassanafi, or however you want to say it, managing to win the 2000? I thought Isaac Shelby ran a great race once again. But yeah, I mean, your girl Blue Rose sent it in some style, didn't she? It was great to see. There was nothing really picking up the pieces in behind that I thought was eye-catching, which was a little bit disappointing. I mean, the mile 3-year-old division may be a little bit lackluster all around Europe this year, but hopefully Blue Rose Sen's going to be the superstar.
Yeah, it looks like that it's going to be that way, and she's obviously going to head for the Prix d'Anne next, and she's going to have a mighty chance in that. I'm sure the step up in trip will suit her, and I look forward to meeting her in a couple of weeks' time when I head out to Chantilly. Let's get into York then. We start off on the Wednesday with the 3 o'clock there, and it's the 6th furlong 1895 Duke of York Clipper Stakes. It's a good looking race. It's a very interesting race with Highfield Princess topping the market at 5-2, Creative Force a weekend winner at 7-2, The Astrologist 11-2, Marshman is 13-2, Azure Blue 9-1, and double figures bar these. And usually, Jack, I'd throw to you, but I think I'm going to start with my selection this week, and I'm going to go with a horse that I was a big fan of last year, and we all know I was, especially towards the back end of the season, and that's Marshman, who I think is well overpriced here. Obviously, the 3-year-old in the field, so has plenty more improvement to come, but has already run this year already in the Prix out in Chantilly, beating a horse called Bordeaux of Donica O'Brien's. Now, those two drew well clear of the field, and Marshman always had Bordeaux covered. That was only over 5 furlongs. I think this horse is better over 6 furlongs. I think probably the 5 furlongs was a bit sharp, but he managed to get the job done. And I've got a feeling that we could see plenty more from this horse this season going up to 6 furlongs. I'd ignore the run in the Middle Park Stakes at Newmarket. I just don't think this horse handled Newmarket that day. I know he went off favourite, but you go back and look at his form, the second in the Gym Crap behind Noble Style, I think that's excellent form, and that race ended up to be run really well with the third Cold Cage running some nice races since. So I think Marshman, I think Clifford Lee, Carl Burke is an excellent combination to be with, especially at York. I think 13-2 is far too big each way. I'd love to see the Australian Raider, the Astrologist, who ran well at Maidan, run a good race here, but I think it's all about Marshman. I think Highfield Princess, I think she might just want the run to start the season off as a 6-year-old, but we'll have to wait and see. Jack, what's your opinion on this one?
Yeah, it's an absolute cracker, isn't it? I think Marshman, of course, is the one to beat on ratings. I mean, they're all giving him pretty much £9 as the 3-year-old, but it is a lot to handle coming up against your elders. You've got the likes of Creative Force, Highfield Princess. They're as consistent as anything. Even Emiratiana towards the back end of last season was as consistent as anything. I mean, they are getting on a bit. Creative Force is only a 5-year-old. Completely agree with the point of Highfield Princess needing the run. Let's not forget she was beaten at Chelmsford in a Class 2 race when 13-8 on favourite last year, and the year before that was turned over in a Class 4 handicap at York for a break. So she does usually need the break. But for me, I think Creative Force, he blew off the cobwebs on season weary appearance when he was very disappointing at Newmarket. But look, he bounced back to form in good style at Haydock. He's as consistent as anything. Look, he's 7 from 17. He was placed, of course, out in the Breeders' Cup, placed at Ascot in the Champions Sprint. He's going to be there or thereabouts. I mean, if you are that way inclined to back him each way at 7-2, then so be it. But no, I think Creative Force is going to be there or thereabouts. Is he going to be good enough to get his head in front? Who knows? Another one, though, as I said, Emiratiana, still a big price. Loves it round York. He is a 7-year-old now, so you do have to take that with a pinch of salt. But look, he's an absolute speedball, stepping up to 6 furlongs. I still don't think it's really his bag. I think he probably prefers in over 5 over the minimum trip. But Creative Force is going to be the one for me.
Yeah, Creative Force are winning at the weekend. They're going to turn him out quite quick by the looks of things. Jack thinks he could run a massive race on the opening day of the York Festival. Let's move on to the 3:35 on Wednesday then. It's the 1 mile 2 furlong Tatsel's Musadora Stakes. This is a Group 3 event open to the 3-year-old fillies. And Infinite Cosmos, the 13-8 favourite here. Gavi Your Rosebuds is 13-2. Novakai is 7-1. Lambada 15-2. Midnight Mile and Sea of Roses 8-1. Then we've got Empress Wu and Soul Sister at 16 1. Jack, I know you're a big fan of what Infinite Cosmos did at Newmarket, and the bookmakers, some probably overreacted for the Oaks. I think I saw one go 3-1, but I think she's a generic sort of 6-7-1 shot for it now. Um, I mean, she's surely the one to beat here for Sir Michael Stout, who's in flying form to start the season.
No, she is 100%. But that said, she's very short, isn't she? She was very impressive. She could go on to be a definite Oaks contender. She's 13-8. You're going to take that prize, fair play if you do. But I just think Novakai's got to be overpriced. She's 7-1 and she's rated 113. You've got to be hoping that Infinite Cosmos is very good to be running to 115 straight up on just her third run. I mean, she could be very, very good. But look, I mean, Novikov was second to commissioning last year. How good commissioning have been in that filly's mile, and she's just been improved. She was just improving as a 2-year-old. Of course, she's more exposed, so she's not as aesthetically pleasing on paper as an Infinite Cosmos. But I think of a rating of 113, stepping up in trip shouldn't be too much of an issue. Her dam won over further, so I think, I mean, it's just an absolute no-brainer for me, kind of in an each-way play. She may need the run, that's true, but she won on debut last year, so I think Novakai looks a stonky each-way bet around 7-1.
Yeah, Novakai each-way bet. Same with me. I'm going to have a Sea of Roses as an each-way bet in here at 8-1. And actually a horse who's beaten the favourite already. Sea of Roses ran an excellent race to start the season, the Prix-Penelope, behind a horse called Ponce du Jour, who looks a really strong horse and is probably joint favourite, I think, with Blue Rose Sen for the Prix de Diane currently. I would ignore the fact that Be Happy was third and Be Happy ran at the week in the Oaks trial at Lingfield. I think the all-weather, you can make excuses for horses like that, especially Aiden. So I don't think we saw the best of Be Happy that day. But I think that could end up being quite a good race, the Prix-Penelope. But remember, on debut, this horse came up against the rest, who beat her easily. But after that, came out and beat Infinite Cosmos as a 2-year-old. So look, this horse has really strong form in the book. I know Oisin had a strong word to say about her at the start of the season. I think we did give her a mention last week when she didn't run in the Oaks trial, but I've got to be with her here. I think she's going to run a mighty race. I think 8-1 could be a fair price. And Novakai around 7-1 and 8-1 about Sea of Roses for myself and Jack. Let's go on to Thursday then, onto the 225, and we kick things off with the Middleton Filly Stakes, another Group 2 over 1.25 miles, and Free Wind is 13-8. Sea Silk Road 5-1. Arista is 11-2. Toscana Bell is 6-1. Stay Alert 9-1. Double figures about the other three in here. We've got to start with the favourite Free Wind, because I think I said last year, actually, I think she's the best one, or if not one of the best fillies in training. Jack, she's just had a few niggling issues. I know she's a 5-year-old, but have we got a feeling that she could still be improving and still be just as good at 5, the Lancashire Oaks winner?
I mean, you kind of think she had to be. She's only had the 7 runs and she's been so impressive, hasn't she? But I think you've got to be brave to be taking a chance on her at 13-8, don't you? Frankie's in the saddle. But look, she is clearly the best of these. Let's not get anything wrong here. Absolutely destroyed Sea Silk Road last time out, of course, is the second favourite. Aristia, I think, is very interesting. She got her Group 1 in the Prix Jean Romanet last year, was actually second in this race to Lilac Road last year. But of course, because of that Group 1 win, has to be giving away to her rivals. And Toxana Bell's very interesting for the Roger Varian yard. Has come over from Germany. Last time seen at Aqueduct over 1.3 miles in a grade 3 out there, and then penultimate start was winning the German Oaks. So look, she's very, very interesting, isn't she? It wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people just overlook Toxana Bell and she goes and does the business at 6-1. But look, for me, this is definitely going to be a one to sit back and watch, and hopefully we see a good performance.
Well, it might be you change your mind here, Jack, because I was originally thinking this could be one to sit back and watch, but I'm actually a big fan of Toscana Bell as well. I think she could be quite good, and I think you may actually see money come for this horse on the day. The fact that this is a first run for the stable, and Roger Varian, that I'd imagine that they'll have this horse as ready as they can be. But she could become quite smart for this stable, I've got a feeling. Like I say, she's only 4 years old, but has some fairly good forms her name. I mean, the run in Aqueduct, you can probably put a line through that. Any horse in America come over from Europe, you can whack lines for if you want to. But she actually ran really well, I thought, and I think 6-1 may be a fair enough price. And I think I might end up playing this as just an each way bet to nothing in here. I know sometimes 6-1 is not the best each way price, but if you finish in the frame, you're going to get your money back. So yeah, I'm gonna play Toscana Bell. I think she's fascinating, but I do think Free Wind could still be one of the stars of the season. We'll have to wait and see how she gets on. Let's move on to some more 3-year-olds then, the 3:35 at York. This is the highlight of the week. It's the 1.25 mile Basti Equal Dubai Dante Stakes. This is another Group 2. And Flying Honours is the 4-1 best price favourite. Epictetus is 5-1. Passenger 5-1. Canberra Legend and Continuous is 6-1. 8-1 about White Birch. 9-1 about the Foxes. And double figures and bigger about the rest of them in here. First of all, I mean, I'll start with Epictetus, who won at Epsom. I thought he looked good, but I wasn't overly excited by the way he got things done. I thought he was very workmanlike. However, we did say that about Point Lonsdale last week in kind of a negative way, and he ended up being very workmanlike and getting the job done at Chester. But I wasn't a massive fan of that. I thought Passenger was very, very good when running at Newmarket. But I'd have to be with Canberra Legend here, Jack, who I think could be the really fast improver in here. This horse ran on debut on the all-weather, won easily by just over 3 lengths and won that race comfortably. And then since come out and won a decent race and beat a horse called Colesai, who he ran a decent race at Goodwood, I thought. I think that was a good race behind Cicero's Gift. I actually think that could work out to be better than most people think it would. But I think Colesai was a little bit unlucky in running that day and should have finished a lot closer, got boxed in a little bit. So I don't think the form of that race could be that bad. I know some horse in here may have the better form, but I just have this feeling that he could take a massive step forward for the James Ferguson yard. They're very good at getting these horses to improve run for run. And I think Canberra Legend in a season where I think Ferguson is going to kind of really, really announce himself on the big stage, I think he could run a massive race. 6-1, not a bad price. What about yourself?
I mean, I've been flying the Passenger flag since his debut. I was just so impressed with him at the Craving meeting. As I said, I mean, you couldn't put a bet on him for love nor money. He drifted from 5-1 to 11-1, absolutely bolted up. The horse in the second, I don't think was by any means a mug. He won by 3 lengths that day. They wanted to turn him out and bring him out last week. The ground went against him. And then they've brought him here. They've supplemented him for it. I think they'll probably supplement him for the Derby if he is good enough. He's clearly surprised them, that's for sure. But look, I just think he was so impressive that day. I mean, he was clearly unbackable. But no, it's an interesting race, as you said. Flying Honours, I couldn't really be with after the break from the Flying Zetland. I kind of want that the kind of race fit rival to kind of take him on with. Epictetus again was impressive enough. I don't know how good Hadrianus is, who he got the better of. I don't think at 3/4 of a length by no means justified that authority that he had over Hadrianus. But Canberra Legend, I am going to question the form, to be fair. I think Colesai probably should have beaten Cicero's Gift. I know Cicero's Gift was very impressive and could be a very impressive 3-year-old going forward, but it could be a good bit of form going forward. If Canberra Legend goes on to win, then my word, Cicero's Gift could be quite special, getting the better of Colesai. But for me, I'll be sticking with Passenger. He's the unexposed type. I know this is kind of goes against the trend that I like usually to take something on a bit of proven form. The form isn't all there at the moment, but I thought he was just so impressive. He's an all right each way price, so it'd be Passenger for me.
Passenger for Jack. And yeah, I mean, like you say, Jack, I mean, a lot of people don't do this, but it's something that I always look into is when we see a horse with good form and we see them run and we're like, oh, okay, that's boosted the form of this race. For example, what you said about Cicero's Gift there, and potentially if Canberra Legend were to win, then you might tend to think that the 12-1 about Cicero's Gift for the St. James's Palace is a fair enough price. So some people might be jumping on that straight away as quick as possible before the bookmakers kind of find out and react. So it's always worth looking into the form of some of these good horses and whether they could go on to win Group 1s from other races. So yeah, I wouldn't be putting people off that, but I think Canberra Legend will run a decent race on Thursday. Let's move on to Friday. Then we've got another 2 races to look at here. The 2:25 is the 1 mile Oaks Farm Stables Filly Stakes. This is a listed race, but it could be a very good listed race, I've got a feeling. Queen For You top in the market at 2-1. Silver Lady is 9-2. Copice is 6-1. Fakana is 7-1. Sounds of Heaven and Stormy Sea also 7-1. Juliet Sierra is 8-1. Orchard Bloom 10-1 and 12-1. And bigger about the rest of them in here. Queen For You, I was there at Royal Ascot Trials Day, and oh my word, you could not have seen an easier winner on the day. She looked very, very good, and I actually think she would have been better with a bend. They moved the actual race to the straight track that day. It's usually run over the round course at Ascot, but due to the ground, they moved it to the straight track. But I have a feeling she could be even better around a bend. And I think 2-1 won't be the worst price in the world. It's very dangerous playing these races when some of these horses have only had the one run, obviously. But I think she could be very good. I think Silver Lady was also extremely, extremely good at Newmarket. I think these could be two special fillies, but don't rule out the likes of Fakana, who ran a really good race last time out. But if there was a most likely winner here, I think Queen For You could be quite special. Rab Havlin keeps the ride on this horse. He obviously rides her at home, I'd imagine, and kind of they want to keep Rab on her through the early part of her career, and I think she could be quite special. So 2-1 won't be a price I'll be taking, but I'm excited to see what this race can throw up. What about yourself, Jack?
It's a very interesting race. Queen For You, of course, is trying to kind of go one better than Grand Dam did last year when winning that race at Ascot and then coming on to win this. Of course, she bumped into a future Group 1 winner in Fontaine. So there could be one to kind of come and spoil the party. You've had a couple of big price winners. It's not really a great race for favourites here historically. So I was looking for something at a price. And there's one who I'm not too sure if she's going to run. And I actually don't have the price with me at the moment. But what price is Secret Angel, Sam?
Secret Angel, let me just roll down here.
I think she's about 25-1.
Yeah, 25-1, yeah, for the Carl Burkyard, yeah.
Yeah, there's something I like with this race when they're stepping down from Group Company, of course. The beloved Primo Baccio went to win this. Of course, I was going to have to get that when stepping down from Group 3 Company to come and win this. But no, I mean, she was third in the Nelg win. She then stepped up to against her elders. She was given weight last time out, won fourth to Sacred at the weekend. And if they do try and turn her around quickly, I think she's probably a little bit better than a listed horse. As you say, this race could be very, very good. We had a future Group 1 winner go and win it last year, so it could be a very good listed race. But I think Secret Angel was a little bit overlooked. I'd wait to see if she is declared, that's for sure. But she's been running in some hot contests against her elders as well. So dropping back into 3-year-old company and listed race, I think she could go quite close here. So Secret Angel's about 25-1. Wait to see if she's declared. But if she does, I reckon she could be a live outsider.
Secret Angel, 25-1. Yeah, it could be a fair price. And maybe one of those where you want to have a small each way bet in a race like this, where, you know, the favourites, you have a couple of question marks just due to the fact that they haven't had many runs, and Secret Angel could end up being a big price at 25-1, according to Jack. It's a race I'm going to be leaving alone, but very much looking forward to seeing that listed race on Friday. The 3:35 is the last race we officially preview. It's the 1 mile 6 furlong Yorkshire Cup Stakes. This is a Group 2 part of the British Champion Series, this race, and Quick Fawn is the 5-2 favourite. Broome 3-1. Eldar Eldaroff is 9-2. Emily Dickinson 11-2. Hamish 6-1. Siskani 6-1. 16-1 about Tashgan. 20-1 and bigger out the other four in here. I mean, looking at this, a few of these probably won't be turning up, I'd imagine, but we've got to try and judge what we think will end up winning it anyway. Quick Fawn, Jack, was so impressive in this last year. I mean, it was an incredible performance from the front. Can you imagine we probably see a similar performance in terms of the way this horse is run?
No, I think the best of the week comes in here, and it's not Quickthorn. For me, I think Siskani is an unbelievable price at 6-1. I have no clue how he's a backable each way price. Eldarov, Broome, they've both got to give him weight, and I thought he was really impressive out in Maidan. Of course, he got done by Broome on the line over 2 miles last time out, but I mean, even before that, over 1 mile and 6, he was very impressive when getting the better of Ardekan, who was 4th in the race that Broome actually won. So no, he looked very impressive when stepping up to these staying trips. He got a little bit outstayed by Broome, but Broome's half the price at 3-1, and if Broome's half the price at 3-1, he was beaten in the neck that day. So I have no clue how he's 6-1. William Buick's dropped up. I don't know what else is going to go as well. I think Eldarov is probably actually the biggest danger. Never really been a fan of Quickthorn. I know he likes it round here, and I know he did it so impressively last year, but I just can't trust him. I always seem to get on the wrong side of him, that's for sure. But I think Siskani is still improving. He's a 5-year-old now, but he looks to be maturing now. He's stepped up to these staying trips. I never usually like backing Godolphin or Charlie Appleby in these staying races, but I think at 6-1, he's an absolutely cracking each way bet, and he's my bet of the week.
Wow, Siskani 6-1, bet of the week for Jack. I'm going to take a chance on one in here who I think could improve for an extra couple of furlongs, and it's a horse called Isra for the John Gosden stable. Jim Crowley on board. Bit of a rogue shout, because you can go back and look at this form and go, how on earth is that going to win? But if you look at some of his performances over 1.5 miles, he's actually been staying on quite nicely. And it's the first time that they've really stepped him up by this extra 2 furlongs. It would have been even more fascinating had this race been run over 2 miles. But go back and look at some of these runs in the King George V Stakes, the handicap at Royal Ascot, where this horse ran a good third behind some nice horses. I think Secret State won the race, and then we had Deauville Legend, who finished second in the race, which ended up to be fairly good form. The horses went on to perform well at different festivals. One ran a really good race in the Melbourne Cup, and the other one won at Glorious Goodwood. So there was good form there, but this horse will appreciate the drying ground, I'd imagine. And it's just the way this horse has been hitting the line after the finish. It looked like he just wants a little bit further. And it's very rare for a horse by Muhara to have a horse who might end up staying. But Tagruda, the Dam, is a horse who, this horse was running in arc, so he has some staying side in the pedigree, and I think that this horse could be a big each way shout. 25 to 1 might not be the worst price in the world for this. I think a lot of this is going to cut up. So look, I mean, if you can get on it now at the time we're recording, you might get the 8th place, the 3 places still, and it could end up being a field of 5 or 4. But I think Israel could be really fascinating here. I'm going to follow this horse all season. If this horse does run a good race, let's say it finishes 3rd or 4th, you could see this horse in a handicap potentially, and I think he could be a horse to follow at 4 for the Gosden Yard in the Shadwell Silk. So Israel at 25 to 1 for me, and Siskani at 6 to 1 for Jack. Jack, we've got 3 days worth of action. I don't know whether you've had a look at any of the other races moving across the card, but is there anything else that you've kind of paid attention to for the 3 days?
There's one in the finale on Wednesday, and if you told me that March Basilica full brother was going to be running in a mile 4 handicap, class 4 handicap for George Bowie, and he was going to be 5 to 1, I would have bitten your hand off as a 2-year-old. I put him straight in the tracker when he was with Jesse Harrington a couple of years ago before he was even racing. He was very disappointing for Jesse Harrington, pretty much dotted up at Lingfield on his penultimate run for George Bowie, finished second over a mile and a quarter last time out back in January. He's had a bit of a break since. It looks like a nice Bowie plot job. I like to think he's better than a mark of 84, stepping up to a mile and a half. So Paris Knights for me is 5 to 1 in the finale on Wednesday.
Paris Knights finale on Wednesday for Jack. I only even mentioned a horse. It's probably going to be about 13 to 8, 7 to 4, but I'm a big fan of this horse, and Jack's going to probably try and go against me with this horse. But it's in the Merrigate Filly Stake, which is actually on Friday. It's a 5 furlong contest for the 2-year-old fillies, and Persian Dreamer, what she did for the Ammo Racing team at Newmarket was absolutely sensational. You go back and look at some of the sectionals, she was running. Wow, it was quick, Jack. It was quick in the final few furlongs, and I know that the yard have outlined this horse for the Queen Mary. She's currently favourite for the Queen Mary at Royal Ascot, and I would probably leave her price on Friday, but I wouldn't mind if you could get on for the Queen Mary at around 13 to 2 is the best price you can get for that. I think she could be very smart. We know Ammo Racing, they are a force to be reckoned with at the moment, but Dominic French-Davies, he's obviously got plenty of horses with them this season. Great to see him have some nice horses. But Persian Dreamer, very, very smart on debut at Newmarket. I think could run a huge race here and then become probably about a 3 to 1 favourite for the Queen Mary, Jack. I don't know what it is. You just don't like this horse.
No, we just see it time and time again with these Ammo horses who are so impressive on debut. I mean, if you told me Persian Force wasn't going to win a Group 1 after he's winning the Brocklesby, I would have said, oh, you're joking. But look, they just don't seem to go as well after their first run. They're so primed for their debut, and after that, they just flop. And I mean, I don't know how long Ammo Racing will be able to sustainably do that, but they need a big winner, and hopefully she'll be the one for you.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to wait and see. But I was actually sad about a horse who probably didn't achieve enough for our race, was Mojo Star, who I think has been retired now or looking to be retired after a load of injury problems. But I mean, she was way better than just winning a maiden, Jack. He was way better than just winning a maiden, wasn't he?
Yeah, meanwhile, he was second in the Derby, wasn't he? Bless him. But no, he would have been a good contender at these staying trips, but he was always knocking on the door, bless him.
Yeah, it could have been their big one. I mean, second to Kypros in the Ascot Gold Cup last year as well. I mean, he could have been a huge player for them. But look, you never know. They could have some nice horses to go to war with this year, and hopefully they can get a big Group 1 on the board. Ammo Racing and Kevin Stott, who's been in fine form all season. Well, that's it for our preview of the York Dante Festival. We absolutely smashed Chester out the park. You seem to like these festival previews, and we'll keep bringing them to you. We've got plenty of other festivals still to come. Obviously, we'll have Royal Ascot not too far away, I think 4 weeks away. We'll probably have our preview coming to you then, and then we'll be slowly moving into Goodwood, which is just absolutely mad. The flat season comes quick and fast. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I don't know what you're doing. Do subscribe to the channel. Like, comment, share these videos. Let us know who you're going to be backing during the York Dante Festival. We're going to be back this weekend for a preview of the Lock-In. Will be the big race this weekend, the big Group 1 at Newbury. Looking forward to previewing that. Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in a couple of days' time.